So a couple weeks back, I made a video on Kalvin Garrah and how he had a little bit of a hissy fit on Instagram. That basically like it was basically in line with what you'd expect a 15-year-old gamer boy on Xbox Live to say after spouting the N-word multiple times. He said that he wasn't sorry for anything that he did, that no matter what he does, the people that don't like him will find any reason to dislike him and twist his words and so on. It was basically a big step back because I do genuinely feel like Kalvin was, at least in the times that I talked to him, both in private and publicly, heading in a generally more positive direction. Not anywhere quickly, but it was an improvement. And then unfortunately, he had this sort of breakdown, I guess you could call it, on Instagram. And I made that video, and I didn't really expect anything else to come from this. Right? Like, I figured, okay, Kalvin's taking his break from YouTube. That's what he announced in those Instagram posts. We're probably not going to get any more news about this for a while. But Kalvin went ahead and uploaded a video today, and I have not seen it. I have no idea what to expect from this video. It's 51 minutes long, so I will be turning it up slightly faster than it's already at. I'm going to turn it up to 1.5 speed. Hopefully it doesn't bother any of you. It's called Taking Accountability plus Final Words. I believe after this may be Kalvin Garrah's final video, at least for a very long time. My hopes are high that maybe Kalvin Garrah will genuinely apologize to those that he's wronged in some pretty severe ways in the past. But it's also very possible that he might double down on all the shit that he's done in the past. Or perhaps even outright, like, kind of wiggle his way out of it. I don't know. I hope Kalvin goes into this with good faith, and I hope something positive comes out of this. I hope maybe he realized what he's done, being bad, and hopefully he can improve himself. Let's go ahead and watch.
What's up, you guys? Kalvin here, and welcome back to my channel, where, as a lot of you might know, I posted about a week ago.
Okay, so really quickly, that's pretty damn quiet.
Or so, that I'm going to be taking a step back from YouTube for the foreseeable future. There's a lot of reasons for this, and I'm going to get into that in this video, but
That was like the meme where it's like me trying to that was because of the fucking audio thing that I use, my audio booster. What the fuck?
I also wanted to at least have a final statement, final words for the time being on my channel. I didn't just want to leave it open space.
Come on, don't embarrass me in
What's up,
front
you
of
guys? Kalvin
everybody.
here, and welcome back to my channel, where, as a lot of you might know, I posted about a week ago or so that I'm going to...
What the fuck? Okay, my volume booster extension is just broken as fuck. All right, I turned off the volume booster.
What's up, you guys? Kalvin here, and welcome back to my channel, where, as a lot of you might know, I posted about a week ago or so that I'm going to be taking...
What? Chill! What? I need to switch to Opera. I said I needed to switch to Opera before. I didn't do it.
Future.
I really do. Like, Google Chrome is so fucking scuffed, dude. I really need to move to Opera GX. It's so much better, from what I've heard. Yeah, Kalvin.exe has stopped working. There's actually proof that this is actually a deepfake video. Kalvin's actually been kidnapped by the CIA, and this is actually a simulation being made to convince people that he actually hasn't been kidnapped. He's just taking a break from YouTube. It's actually the truth.
There's a lot of reasons for this, and I'm going to get into that in this video, but I also wanted to at least have a final statement, final words for the time being on my channel. I didn't just want to leave it open space, right? Because I feel like there are a lot of things that people are saying about me right now. There's so many videos being made about me by people that I've reacted to in the past, even by people that I've literally never talked to in my life. So I wanted to come on here and set the record straight and just kind of discuss that stuff, because I think it would be disingenuous for me to just kind of sit back and...
Bro, I just had the most satisfying jaw pop of my whole life. That one felt so good. That was a deep jaw pop. That felt so fucking good.
Pretend that none of that is being said, right? A lot of people were coming for me or criticizing me that I didn't make this video sooner, or that I didn't say anything sooner, right? And I just want to make a disclaimer. There was a very specific reason for that, and that's because something I've noticed, especially with the culture of YouTube nowadays, is that when people get into controversy, their immediate reaction, right, is to make a video defending themselves. I've just seen a lot of stuff going around, even things relating me or trying to say I'm the trans Onision. And so while I can concede literally any day of the week, and that's why I'm making this video, that there are a lot of valid things people are saying and criticizing me for. Like, I'm going to apologize for things that I definitely think weren't an apology. I didn't want to make a video right off the bat because, number one, I didn't want to be accused of only apologizing for views or only apologizing for retribution or only apologizing because I had to. Because I don't feel obligated ever. That's just me as a person. I've never felt obligated to apologize for something if I didn't actually feel sorry for it. And I just feel like people that do that are very weak-minded. I don't want people to think I'm apologizing basically just to save face or to make myself look good. Because, like I said, I'm quitting YouTube for the time being. I have literally nothing to gain, nothing to lose from saying this. I have been sitting on it for a week or two, and I thought that the right thing to do is to talk about it publicly. So a lot of people know the main person that kind of started this like wave of
Cops hate Mo. Hit me with it. I know who it is. It's going to be Cops hate Mo.
people talking about me in previous videos I've made is a YouTuber named Brennan, and I reacted to him probably like 2 to 3 years ago, back in like 2018. It was me reacting to them after they were on MTV, which I'm going to talk more about. But
for those of you guys that don't know, Brennan, I believe he's a trans dude. I don't know all that much about them. I think I watched one of their videos, who Kalvin bullied the fuck out of, and it was a real big piece of shit too. And Brennan made some pretty good ass videos on Kalvin that made Kalvin kind of mad. And that's where all this kind of started.
That's kind of what started this big spiral, and I'm sure a lot of people already know that. But if you don't know, they made a video talking about like my experience with Kalvin Garrah, something like that. Disclaimer number 2, I have not watched every video out there made about me, right? Like I watched Brennan's video all the way through, but a lot of the other videos that people have made, specifically from people that I've never talked to, that were just kind of making a video because it's a popular topic, I didn't watch those because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna put myself through watching an hour-long video about how terrible I am. Like, I'm just not gonna do that. I don't need people on the internet to tell me whether or not I'm a good person. If I was just like an awful person, right? Not to say I haven't done bad things, not to say that I haven't done things that are criticized.
This is actually supports a point I've been making for a while. Yeah, he's subtweeting Mo here, by the way. If you can't tell, like people I've never talked to before, that's subtweeting Mo. Mo's video has gotten massive. Mo's massive documentary that's like 2 hours long on Kalvin Garrah's past. That video got massive. He's got to be referring to that. But this thing that he's saying actually does support an argument I've been making for a while, and I'm really glad that I get to elaborate on it here with nearly 1,000 people watching. So when we talk about dealing with a large public figure, the likes of Kalvin Garrah, right? When we want to determine what we have to do, the first thing we need to identify is our goal. Chat, what do you think our goal should be for Kalvin Garrah? Is it to have him deplatformed, to humiliate him to the point where he just leaves the internet, to try to change him and make him better and improve himself, move him left? What is our goal? I'm curious. Most of the people in chat are saying redemption, education, move him. Some people are saying deplatform. I assume many of the people saying deplatform are probably being ironic, but many people do genuinely believe that he should be deplatformed, and that's the end of it, right? Kalvin has done too much harm to ever possibly be worthy of any kind of redemption and being allowed to be online. I'm more of a believer in rehabilitation. I would prefer, if it was possible, for the more progressive-leaning trans community or just the lefty community in general to convince Kalvin Garrah, to make him understand why what he has done is wrong so they can accept accountability and try to improve himself, right? So let's say our goal, and this is also my goal, is to educate and inform Kalvin so that he'll accept accountability for what he's done, apologize, and improve himself. How do we do this? Well, Kalvin, as we can pretty obviously see, is not the kind of person who will listen to criticism that isn't directly to his face. If you want to criticize Kalvin Garrah, especially if you're doing it firmly, you have to do it to his face. He does not watch videos criticizing him. It doesn't matter how many videos you make criticizing him or exposing him for the shit that he's done and making arguments against it. He just doesn't watch it. He's going to avoid it. However, if you try to, at the very least, speak to him on his level, as I've tried my best to do in the past, and it seemed to have worked for quite a while, it typically seems to work. Do you guys remember here? I want to show you guys an example where this just worked. I don't even need to this isn't even like a hypothetical. This is just an example of it working. Xander Hall Kalvin Garrah. All right. Fuck it. You guys see this video right here? Blair and Kalvin. This has gone a bit too far. This is a video from back in August. This is shortly after I talked with Kalvin, with Riley Grace, and got him to delete his original Brennan video. Well, me and Riley both got him to do it. Kalvin ended up uploading a video with Blair White going after Milo Stewart, who was a very sweet person. And I made a video called Blair and Kalvin, This Has Gone a Bit Too Far, in which I explained that it's just really fucked up what Kalvin was doing in that video. And do you know what happened? Oh, Milo Stewart's in the chat. Look at that. And a couple hours later, Kalvin took down the video. And I felt like that was some pretty positive progress, but he kind of just went back on all of it on Instagram. So, you know, it's kind of hard for me to be like, it works 100% of the time when he went back on it. So I don't know. We'll see what he says in this video. If he does like the I'm sorry, not sorry thing in this, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to give up on like the Kalvin thing unless he shows like some more internally motivated efforts to improve himself. Like if he does another sort of like sorry, not sorry kind of thing in this video, like I feel like I've given Kalvin enough charitability at this point. There's only so much charitability that I'm willing to give before until the other person that I'm trying to convince to change needs to start pushing their weight in trying to improve themselves, for me to continue to give that charitability. They have to make an effort. The effort can't be one-sided when you're trying to like help someone improve.
If that's a word, I don't know. If I was really just this like god-awful person, all the people I've dated, which people love to like point out, oh, I've had all these girlfriends, stuff like that. But if you're one of those people in that camp of bringing that up all the time, and people that I've been friends with, even people that I'm not friends with anymore, right? Don't you think that those people would have come out and said, yeah, Kalvin's an awful person, you're all right, like Kalvin is a bad person? Nobody's ever done that. The people that have been closest to me in my life, nobody would ever do that, and that's because I just know at the end of the day, when it comes to the real world and not the internet world, I'm just not a bad person. That doesn't mean that the criticisms people have of me aren't valid. The reason I'm only bringing all this up...
Well, okay, so of course people that you're friends with aren't going to come out and chastise you most of the time, because most people, at least most of the time, are pretty good at choosing their friends that you're probably not... Generally, people choose friends that they're not going to have too much conflict with. Obviously, this isn't always true, but like saying, if I was really such a bad person or I was really such a shithead, wouldn't people have called me out by now? That's not really a good argument against the idea of you being like a bad person.
About people are different on the internet than they are in real life. And it's not so much that I'm a hugely different person online, it's mostly just that I'm a very opinionated person online. I definitely have like an amped up version of my real life personality. People will watch my content for like 1 hour, like pick and choose the videos they want to watch, which, I mean, yeah, that's just how YouTube works. You don't fully know somebody just from watching their videos, right? And some people, not all people, some people will take my videos and just because they don't like my attitude in them, or they don't like something I said 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, and decide that that hour span of content that they've consumed defines if I have a good or bad character as a person. Yeah.
My straw man detector is going off, Kalvin. I'm going to be honest with you, Kalvin. I have yet to see a criticism of you that was saying that you're a bad person just because of stuff you did like 3 years ago. The reason why a lot of people chastise you, especially now, is because of a compiling history of things that you've done badly, or bad things that you've done. So it's not, oh, you did some bad stuff a long time ago. It's, you did a bunch of bad stuff a long time ago. Then you did more bad stuff. Then you did more bad stuff. And even more recently, you were still doing bad stuff. That's what a lot of people seem to have a huge issue with. At least that's what I have an issue with. And it's not just because that you did bad stuff. It's also because your actions had demonstrably negative outcomes. Your fans went out of their way in many cases to harass and dogpile many of the people that you covered. And the vast majority of the people that you went after had done nothing to deserve it. Had done nothing to deserve it. Usually, it was non-binary people and like freshly out trans people that you just made videos on because they were doing like a little blog in their bedroom, or they were making like some cute TikToks that you thought were cringe, so you made fun of them, and then your fans went and attacked them. They did nothing wrong. They aren't harming anybody, but the way that you covered them, at least to your audience, made it seem as though their existence, because they're trans trenders, is making actual trans people less valid. So you roused your audience to feel like they're almost on a righteous crusade when they go after these people. That's the worst part. The kind of bullying that Kalvin Garrah, intentionally or otherwise, sent his audience to do isn't just, oh, we're bullying you because you're cringe and we're just having fun bullying you. They actually felt like they were doing something righteous. I've talked to Kalvin Garrah fans. They genuinely think that non-binary people, or trans trenders as they call them, are harming the trans community. They think that when they do this kind of stuff that they're helping trans people. I'm not kidding you. A lot of Kalvin Garrah's audience, when they go out to attack some trans trender, they actually think that they're helping the trans community. They do. That's the impression that is given by much of Kalvin Garrah's content when he makes those kinds of videos. It's actually trans tender. It's a chicken tender dipped in the trans flag colors.
I want to talk about that because there's just a lot of things going out there. The first big one is that I'm quitting because of the videos people are making about me, which just isn't really the case. Like I said, I haven't watched a lot of these like hour-long videos about me. That's just because like I'm not going to put myself through that mentally. Like I have a lot of stuff going on. Like a lot of people know, I'm still in the process of bottom surgery, and I made a video a couple months ago about how COVID, pushing that back, even though I completely understand it, it's just like hard on me. And so I just already have a lot of like issues just regarding completely unrelated things, and I'm not more on top of that on purpose. For the past, 4 years, YouTube has been my job. And unfortunately, it took me quite a bit of time to kind of come to the realization. By the way, I'm kind of just talking about a lot of things in this video, so I'm going to put timestamps in the most accessible way that I can on the video, so that if you don't want to watch this part about me, you're not really a fan, you just are watching this, you can easily access me discussing like the...
I'm actually curious. I want to see what the general timestamps are. Disclaimer regarding the videos made about me, the real reason I'm leaving YouTube, talking about getting doxxed. Let's go to 734 and hear about the getting doxxed thing. We'll skip around a little bit to the different segments that seem the most interesting. This is a very long video, so I want to keep it like more so on topic. He doesn't address Lars. That's unfortunate.
Because that's my little sister. Like, she doesn't deserve that. And then with the doxing stuff, at the end of the day, getting doxed is getting doxed. Like, I have FBI contacts from when they came to my house a couple months ago, and so I already have an open case with the FBI, an open case with my local police jurisdiction. I don't want to say too much. They released one specific piece of information that makes them criminally responsible. Doxing somebody, technically, don't dox people, but doxing someone's address and their phone number and just that stuff isn't technically a crime. But when you start to get into like fraudulent stuff and things of the identity theft nature, that's when you're committing a crime. Again, I'm not really sure why somebody would dox a person who is actively a criminal justice pre-law student. Like, I don't really understand why you would do that, because obviously I know how to deal with it. But at the end of the day, like, the addresses that they dox and stuff, I don't even live there currently. All it does is put my family in danger. So it's just not worth it to me, because my family, they're...
So I don't believe my current address has been doxed. I check pretty often, but I've done a lot to hide it. But as like a safe measure, this is actually just a bit of advice for everybody here. If you have any type of online presence and you're worried about getting doxed, I would recommend, especially if you live in Seattle. Seattle's probably the only city in America that's really good with this kind of shit. But if you're in Seattle, call your local police department at their non-emergency number, explain that you're an online figure whose private information has been leaked online in regards to like address and stuff like that, and warn them that you're at a high risk of being swatted. They'll know what you're talking about, and they'll put you onto like a list, like a sort of protocol. For if a call is made to your house, they'll typically call you before they come. They're more likely to, and they'll like check in with you. There's usually a password that you set up, and it can help a lot if you actually get swatted, because never let anyone convince you otherwise. There is only one goal whenever somebody tries to dox the address of a public figure or somebody else. The goal may not, if they don't do it themselves to swat you, the goal is to make it so that your address is readily available and easy to find for someone who does want to swat you. Why would someone dox Sanderhall? It's Nazis. Nazis like to try to dox me.
They're innocent. Even if you think I'm the worst person alive, my family is innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry if I'm saying a lot, but like I want to get it all out before I take a break, because I don't want to like forget something and then have to make another video. The criticisms people have made about my content and about some of the things that I've done, a lot of it's very objective and unbiased. And I think everyone has the right to speak on anything that's posted publicly, right? Like, my videos were all public, and so because I posted them publicly, ramble, no.
Yeah, well, when you have a smaller following, that's when you're the most at risk, I would say. Take care of hiding your identity the best you can. Make sure your name's not public, your age, the city or the state you live in. Ideally, if you want to be the most safe, you would just not even say your name, your birthday, the state or city you live in. Keep all of it a secret. That's the best way to avoid getting doxxed.
Isn't he so cute? Because I posted those videos publicly, people have 1,000% right to critique them. The issue is when people start spreading information that's just like blatantly false. Like, for example, there was this huge like Twitter rumor spread that I voted for Trump. Not just this year, but in 2016. I was 16 in 2016. I couldn't vote. Even though this doesn't really matter, and I don't feel the need to clear this. I do feel the need to clear this up because I have been registered as a Democrat since the day I was eligible to register to vote, which is when I got my Maryland state ID at 18. I've been registered as a Democrat since that day, and
That's extremely unlikely, Lone Cat. It's very rare that someone actually comes to your house. Yeah, I don't really care about this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people did say that Kalvin Garrah was a Trump supporter or something like that. Did you hear Brennan's reaction to your RGR conversation on Kalvin? No, I don't. I'm good, okay? Debunking anti-Semitism rumors. That's an interesting one. Let's go to 1010. The anti-Semitism rumors. Oh boy, that sounds juicy.
People try to say I was anti-Semitic because I said that I love Jewish people because unlike a lot of other religions, a lot of Jewish people mind their own business and they don't try to like shove their beliefs down their throat, which to me, when it comes to religion, shows a lot of like self-awareness. Like you believe in your religion and you don't shove it on other people. So I love Jewish people. I have never once in my life.
Okay, so I know there are like crazy people out there there are people who've called ContraPoints anti-Semitic because she made a joke about the reptiles ruling the world in one of her videos like 3 years ago. But I really doubt that there was any significant amount of people calling Kalvin Garrah anti-Semitic because he said he loves Jewish people because they don't typically push their beliefs onto you like Christians do. That sounds like maybe not what happened, but okay. Debunking racism rumors? Okay. We'll continue watching because it's like 10 seconds away.
Said anything negative about Jewish people. And then people call me racist. Somebody edited a Confederate flag into the back of one of my videos, which the video is public. You can see there's no Confederate flag there. But sorry, I'm not going to be connected to that. Like, I'm not racist. I'm not anti-Semitic. I've never done anything that would point to that. The one thing that I've seen people bring up that I still shake my head at this because I still agree with the point. I basically said that the First Amendment protects you against pretty much anything. Like, the one thing I can think of that the First Amendment does not protect you against is like obscenity. Obscenity, it's determined by the public, right? Like, you're not really protected completely under the First Amendment if something is deemed as obscene. But hate speech, which I've never said anything that would be considered under the law hate speech. But hate speech, I said in and of itself, I posted this, is that hate speech is covered by the First Amendment. The First Amendment can't discriminate based on your political views, even if they're shitty. And I basically just said that when people criticize others for using derogatory language, like the N-word, they try to bring up the First Amendment, which is just a terrible point to bring up, right? Like, I do not condone any day of the week white people going around like saying the N-word, especially not white people going around saying the N-word with the hard R, using it in a derogatory way towards people of color. Like, I don't do.
Well, he is actually correct. The First Amendment, does protect hate speech. The problem is, the thing is, typically when people talk about being censored and not having their like free speech taken away, they're typically complaining about getting banned off of private platforms like Twitter for saying the N-word or whatever, right? Or YouTube or anything like that. Yeah, 1K, we're back to being 1K Andy after me slacking on streaming for way too long and not getting there very often. It gets worse? Okay.
Do that. I don't support that. People try to cite this statement that I made where I basically said, welcome to the real world. If I wanted to, I could say the N-word, but I don't. That's basically what I said, which you can literally.
Yeah, that is at best poor wording, at worst a yikesy ass comment that sounds like, if I wanted to, I could say the N-word right now and get away with it. Almost like a sort of scheming type thing. Yeah, no, I don't blame people for getting upset at Kalvin for saying that. At best, that was very, very bad wording.
Say anything you want. There's you can pretty much say anything that you wanted to as long as you are not inciting violence, right? There's this like issue with the atmosphere of politics on the internet where leftists, people, so there's like, right, so I don't know how to explain this quickly. There's not just Democrat and Republican, right? You have like different levels. So like on the left, you have liberals, and then you have like democratic socialists, and then you have like leftists, and there's just like different varying degrees of like how far left you are. And one thing I've noticed is that leftists, people who are really, really far left, they hate on people on the left who aren't as far left as them more than they hate on conservatives. Like these people who are leftists and they're really, really like passionate about like socialism, even communism for some people, you know, and just like so radicalized, they hate on people on the left who aren't as radical more than they hate on conservatives. And that's just something I don't like. I don't agree with it. I would say that I'm pretty far.
That is true, and I don't agree with it either. I do think that in our current political climate, leftists should be focusing most of their attention on the resurgence of fascism that we're seeing around the world. You know, Poland is going through a big fascist sort of resurgence. They actually just outright banned abortion in Poland. There's big riots happening there right now. I might cover that for a segment. Actually, I don't think I can cover that for a segment because none of you guys actually care about that. If I'm being completely real here, my viewer count would drop to 5 if I decided to cover like Poland banning abortion, there being riots there. Yeah. And yeah, there are no gay zones as well. There's like gays are banned from certain zones in Poland as well. You guys say that you'll watch it, but you actually wouldn't. I guarantee you wouldn't. You absolutely would not watch it. No, you wouldn't. Nope, you're lying. You're all lying. No, you wouldn't. If it's not American politics, you guys don't care. You're lying. You are. I know my audience. I know what you guys will actually stick around to watch. You wouldn't watch that.
Far left when it comes to my political views, just because I'm not out here screaming about my support for neopronouns, I'm not out here blindly supporting everything people say on the left. People will say that I'm on the right, and I'm just like, that's just not the case. Like, that's not how it works. Trans discourse is such a minuscule part of politics, and the really, really, really important aspects of trans discourse, right? Which is just...
All right. You guys seem to actually be interested in it, so I will do a segment on the fascist uprising that's happening in Poland eventually, okay? I'll do it soon. iDubbbz said the N-word should be not derogatory thoughts. iDubbbz has probably gone back on that. Something I've noticed lately is that in a lot of iDubbbz's newer videos, he's like stopped doing things like saying that, and he's clearly gotten more progressive. Like very obviously, if you watch iDubbbz's more recent videos, he's gotten like significantly more progressive. Did you guys see the Ice Cream Man video? It was like a documentary that he did that was like extremely like anti-ableist. Did you guys see that one? Like it was very anti-ableist. I actually liked that video a lot. It was very, very wholesome. He also did a video making fun of anti-maskers. He just generally seems to have gotten like a quite a bit more progressive.
Fundamentally getting society to view trans women as women and trans men as men, and to understand the biological factors and the idea that it's not a choice. Like, you don't choose to have this life. Getting people in society to fundamentally agree with that should be the main goals of the trans community, and preventing black trans women from being murdered, like, that's a huge issue. Like, I see more people mad because somebody is criticizing neopronouns or because somebody is refusing to put their pronouns in their bio. I see more hate towards people that don't do those things than I...
Wait, so here's the thing. You can't try to like dog whistle your beliefs by saying criticize neopronouns, right? Because I'm pretty sure when Kalvin says neopronouns, he's lumping in they, them as well. Like, listen, all right. Neopronouns like Zer, I think, are like silly, but they're valid. Because gender identity is socially constructed, and socially constructed things don't have any basis in physical, tangible... You can't touch pronouns, right? They're a thing that you made up. They're silly, and as in they sound silly, right? Like, I go by Zer. It sounds silly, right? It's fun, right? But they're valid, right? Like, if I know somebody goes by neopronouns, I'm going to call them by those neopronouns. Not just because it's polite, but because I recognize, as sociologists and scientists seem to as well, that gender is socially constructed, and if that's how you identify, then that's what you are. That's just how it is. That's what gender is. That's what your gender identity is. That is the definition of a gender identity. If you misgender someone, even if they have neopronouns, you're not just being a dick and transphobic, you're also just incorrect. Stay mad. You're incorrect.
do towards conservatives. Like I literally, that's just my experience. I see it and I don't like it, and I just don't really want to be a part of that. And then I was getting into this, but the biggest reason I think why I want to take a break is because I've obviously built up a very, very trans medicalist, true scum audience. I don't really identify with the term trans med anymore. I don't really identify with any term that the trans community uses to label people. I still do think you need a level of gender dysphoria or gender incongruence or whatever you want to call it to be trans. There's just so much nuance to it, and if trans med ideology wants to keep up and be scientifically accurate like they claim to be.
Okay, so this is like really interesting to me. I've heard this argument before, and here's the thing, all right? Oh, this is so confusing, okay? You don't, by definition, there's nothing in the definition of transgender that says you have to have dysphoria to be trans. There's literally, there is nothing in the definition, any definition that is academically accepted of transgender that necessitates gender dysphoria. It's just not there. To be transgender simply means to identify as a gender different from the one you were assigned at birth. Doesn't matter what the reason is that you're identifying as a different gender. If you are, I guess, what's the word for it? I'm brain farting on the word. If you are sincerely identifying as a different gender, then you are transgender. Now, I can't think of many reasons why someone would identify as a different gender than the one that they were assigned at birth if they didn't have dysphoria. But it doesn't matter, right? And I know there's also gender euphoria. I've heard stories about people that don't have dysphoria in their current gender, with their current gender identity, but they feel better than they do presently if they identify as and present as something else. I know that's a thing, right? I've actually talked to somebody who experienced this. I was like, no, I have no gender dysphoria, but I feel really nice and I feel like I belong when I identify this way and I present this way. Euphoria is the opposite of dysphoria. Basically, gender dysphoria. Okay, so think about it like this right here. Okay, hypers if you are trans. So there's a few trans people here, right? So euphoria is basically the feeling, at least the way I've had it explained to me, is basically the feeling that a trans person gets when they look at themselves or think about themselves and they feel very pleased with where they are. They're like, yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this right now. Unfortunately, for most trans people I've talked to, it's a temporary feeling for a lot of the time. It seems like when you're trans, there's a very big struggle, mostly from societal factors, not necessarily a more intrinsic thing, to constantly be striving to pass more. Like, okay, I talked to a trans girl once who's in my Discord, okay? She had just gotten top surgery, right? She had the big old bazongas, right? And she was really happy about it, right? And she was really happy. She was like, I'm pumped full of euphoria right now. But then a week later, she was like, I'm kind of off that euphoria high now, and I want to get bottom surgery. And then she did, which is pretty pog. But that's basically what euphoria is, right? So yeah. It's basically a sense of extreme comfort and content with your current standing where you are. Trans guy here experienced euphoria, not dysphoria. That's cool. That's really good, Muffin.
Or like we've all claimed to be. It's important to actively think about what you believe and to restructure your beliefs in a way that is scientifically up to date, right? So like I think that at the end of the day, there are a million reasons why people can't medically transition, right?
Oh yeah, edgelord bazooka. A lot of the time, edgelord bazooka, not bazooka. Yeah, euphoria and passing and dysphoria can also come from the self a lot, right? Like it can stem a lot from not feeling like you're good enough. But a lot of that feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't pass well enough, comes from pressures put on you by society, right? If society didn't have these expectations, I feel like a lot more trans people would probably be a lot happier and would probably have a lot less dysphoria. Obviously, many trans people the most of them experience some level of dysphoria because they don't feel pleased themselves without any influence from the outside world or society with how they look and feel. But a lot of it is definitely caused by their perception or society's perception of them.
And that doesn't mean that they're not trans. That doesn't mean they don't have dysphoria. There's reasons why people can't bind. There's reasons why people can't medically transition. There's reasons why people can't even come out because of their family. And so while I feel like I've always kind of said that, like if you go back and watch any of my videos, like I pretty much have always been under the mindset that you don't need to medically transition to be a valid trans person. Overarchingly, the trans med community isn't really together about their beliefs. Like there isn't really one definition of what trans med is. And so I was seeing a lot of definitions from people of what trans med is that just didn't line up with what I personally believe. And so I have a lot of pressure from my audience, and not just my audience, but people that don't like me. So like one side for me to be really trans med and to be like super critical of the gender movement, right? And then I have pressure from other people telling me that if I'm not accepting of everybody, I'm an awful person. And I really think that my opinions lie really in between those two things. So I want to have the opportunity to really rethink and reflect on what my honest views are without feeling pressure on the internet to think one way. And so those were the main reasons why.
Can you guys see the cat cleaning its beans in the mirror there? That cat's cleaning its beans.
I wanted to stop making videos. It had nothing to do with people saying things about me or people making videos about me, and I don't want people to think that that's the reason, because it's just not. I'm not the type of person to power away or quit when people have an issue with me. That's just, you know, there's always been people that had an issue with me, and I didn't stop. So there's a lot more reasons. Like I was saying, and this isn't even another one, like I have chronic migraines. Like it's just been an issue I've had for years, and so I was spending so much time like.
All right, what else do we have here? Okay. We're at like 16 minutes. Okay. Getting into my apology. Ooh, 17:15. Okay. Apparently he did an apology. Let's see. All right, Kalvin. Here we go. Hit me up. I'm ready.
So I'm working on that issue, but it was just a lot.
Hit me with it.
But now I want to get into the bulk of this video, which is addressing a lot of the things that people are saying about me, what Brennan said about me, what people have brought up from my past. And yeah, I really have been thinking about this, wanting to talk about it again. I don't want people to assume that I'm doing it for retribution to make people like me, because I feel like I have to. Like, I don't feel like I have to do it. Like, if I didn't feel sorry for some things, I just would leave it at that and I wouldn't post. But there are things I feel sorry for. And a lot of people accuse me of not apologizing at all, which is just not true. So if you haven't watched Brennan's video, I recommend that you do, because I think it's only right for people to get both sides of a story. I made a video about Brennan in 2018, which has been privated, and then it was public again. I'm going to talk about why I
want to remind you all that Kalvin republicized the video that he made on Brennan back in the day and said that Brennan's video was full of lies, that he wanted people to be able to see his original video and be able to see where Brennan lies. So I'm very curious if he mentions that, goes back on that, or stands by it in this apology. I'm really curious. I know I posited a funny face, but you know.
For like a day or two made it public. Brennan made a video where I'm not sure if it's here or there, so I'm just gonna go with both, where he basically talks about like the after effect of that video. And so I watched his video, and I genuinely felt bad. Like when I was 17 years old, like when I made that initial video, I had about like 50,000 subscribers. And I know a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago I misspoke, and I thought Brennan's video had way more views than it did when I first reacted to it. Essentially what had happened is that there was another trans YouTuber at the time. He didn't have as many subscribers, but he had made a video about Brennan that I watched that had like 20 or 30K views. His name's Matthew C, if you want to go look. And on top of that, Brennan had been on an MTV show called True Life. And so what sparked my outrage at the video was the fact that Brennan, and I'm not saying anything about Brennan now, because I know currently Brennan, I think, identifies as a trans man or a non-binary trans man. And if you're watching this and you're a fan of me, please don't give Brennan more harassment. This is one of the big reasons I didn't make a video right off the bat. It's because I did not want Brennan to get more harassment. Like, spoiler alert, I sent Brennan a private apology, a really long apology, which I'm going to read here, which Brennan said was a terrible apology, but I think it's fair for people watching me to know what I said, because I didn't wait this long to apologize to Brennan. I sent Brennan a personal apology like right off the bat. But yeah, the video that I reacted to initially, at the time in the original video, I watched it back like a few times since I posted it. And the most recent time I watched it back, and I'm just thinking like, you know, there are points in here that I agree with to this day. But the overall attitude I had in the video, the overall way that I spoke about Brennan, the way that I acted in the video, is just not me now. I don't act that way now. I don't make videos like that now. Even this one video about Milo Stewart that I posted, I'm going to get into that as well. You know, people were really mad about that video. Hi. But if you were to compare, you know, that video and any other recent reaction videos that I've done, none of them are as mean-spirited as some of my first ones. So a lot of people would know I was on a live stream with another YouTuber, Riley Grace Rochong. If you guys want to check out her channel, you definitely should. If you like my content and you kind of want an idea of my mindset, I think Riley and I think very similarly. Or at least my goal is to be like Riley. I think she's one of the smartest people I know. And I really value her opinion. I've seen people getting mad at Riley for even talking to me, and it's just like ridiculous to see, because Riley and I definitely probably don't agree on everything, but she's very good at looking at things through a utilitarian lens and looking at things objectively, which is viewpoint point I really, really, really appreciate from anybody. We were talking, and Riley really did convince me that I should take down the Brennan video. I mean, I definitely like hadn't thought much about it until I was on Riley's stream. I thought Riley made really, really good points, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take down the video. And so I took down the video, and at that point,
Oh. Uh-oh. Guys, I think Kalvin might not like me very much. Have you guys seen the stream that he's referring to? Do you guys know who else was there on that stream talking to Kalvin that helped convince him to take that video down? It was me. Me and Riley talked to Kalvin on that stream. I wonder if he mentions me. Oh no.
point, Brennan hadn't been posting at all. Brennan didn't make any videos about me yet. I didn't even know Brennan had an Instagram because I'm blocked on every account. Like, we're not just talking my main or my site, like any account that I've ever had. I don't even know how they fully knew like all my accounts, but they blocked every single one. I just had no way of really getting into contact to apologize even before they made their video. When Brennan made their video, I watched it, like I said, and there were a lot of things that I really, really sympathized with them on, and I really did feel bad for. One of those big things was I made like this insult that was like a body shaming insult, right? Like something about like, oh, I can think of a reason why you might hate your body. It's not because you're trans, which is just like such a low blow. And like, who am I to make a fat joke? Okay. I'm not the skinniest dude in the world. Look at me. I gained weight being on T. Like, it was just an unnecessary, comment to make. And so I went into my video and removed that portion because that is just like one big statement that I really didn't like that I had made. I thought it was just like a really bad thing that I said. And for that, I felt really, really awful.
Yeah, Brennan clearly didn't want to be contacted by Kalvin, it seems. Unrelated, what are your thoughts on liberals? Okay, unrelated.
And on top of that, like I said, the general attitude of the video was just not me. That's just not how I act now. I'm not this like little wannabe Leafy clone anymore. I've made videos where I analyze the mental health of people like Lovely Peaches. I spoke out about Ariel being a TERF. I spoke out about that TERF book. I read the book and I did an analysis of it. And so like that's the type of content that I've been liking to make. Yeah, so I mean, when Brennan made their video, I completely understood almost all of the criticisms that were being made. The only thing that I can sit here and say, I still think that Brennan's original video, which is on their channel, was a bad representation at the time of what AFAB people with chest dysphoria go through. And of course that was heightened at the time because I hadn't had top surgery. But, I think there's something to say as to why a lot of people liked that video in the first place. And I still think to this day that that one video was bad representation of what it's like to have chest dysphoria, whether you're non-binary, binary, whatever. I know a lot of the time people who are non-binary have a different experience with dysphoria, but that was never clarified, right? It was never like, this is my non-binary chest dysphoria. It was just like this person who was on MTV, an MTV episode about being transgender, and a lot of...
So this just isn't, this is a non-apology. Because Kalvin, when what triggered Kalvin to have that little meltdown on Instagram was a combination of Brennan's video going up, as well as Mo's video. So frustrating because Brennan was so clearly talking about their own experience. Yeah, most likely, guys. I haven't seen Brennan's video, the one that Kalvin was going after, but I have no doubt in my mind that it was just Brennan talking about his own experience. I have no doubt in my mind that that's all it was. And it set Kalvin off because I know Kalvin's this type of person because he's made this argument to me. Kalvin's the kind of person that if someone, like some trans person, talks about their experience and it is different from his in a way that he finds distasteful, it upsets him greatly. That's typically the kind of reaction he has to that kind of stuff.
People, I think, especially cis people, and people forget this, that cis people will watch a video about a trans person born female and they're not thinking, oh, are they non-binary or are they trying to be a man? It's like, oh, you're born female and you want to be a guy, or oh, you're born male and you want to be a girl. A lot of people, especially in 2018, 2017, they weren't thinking that. They're not thinking about non-binary people and how their dysphoria differs. And I wasn't thinking about it either. So that's the only thing that I will still stick by to this day. I don't like the way that dysphoria was represented in the video. After Brennan made their initial video, I sent them this message, and I'm going to read it for you guys. I messaged them from my private Instagram, my local Instagram. I said, hey, I'm messaging you from my private account because I think you have me blocked on my main, but I wanted to send you a message and make sure that you know I watched your video. And I have a lot of feelings towards it, but first and foremost, I do owe you an apology. I want to make it abundantly clear that due to my own ignorance, I really had not gone back and rewatched my original video to reevaluate what I had said in years. But after watching it recently, I took it down, and on that live stream with Riley, I was drunk and kind of talking out my ass, but I did take it down honestly because I don't agree with several assertions I made about you and the general attitude I had within the video. I would like to respond to your video, but I felt it was only fair that I messaged you first to apologize personally to you for the rude and harmful way I spoke about you, especially...
Oh yeah, I think I was high when I talked to Kalvin too. I think I'd smoked like half a blunt. It was like the second time I smoked weed, maybe the third time, whenever I went on that stream to talk to Kalvin. So Kalvin was drunk. Kalvin was drunk and I was high. Dude, I remember trying not to throw up the whole time because weed makes me want to vomit so much. Weed, like whenever I smoke weed, I am constantly on the edge of just going bleh, all over the fucking place, dude. Oh god, I'm getting flashbacks to that night. I can taste the gross taste of weed in my mouth now.
Relating to your parents, because I recognize now that doing so was completely irrelevant to the overarching point I was trying to make. At 17, I had little to no self-awareness as to how large of a reach and impact my videos could have, but at 20, I have more of that self-awareness, which I hope has been reflected in my more recent videos. If I'm being 100% honest, which I always want to do, I don't entirely disagree with the points about dysphoria that I made in the video.
It was weed. It was a blunt. It had CBD and THC in it. That's what cannabis has in it.
And I'm saying this because I don't want you or anyone else to think I was ever dishonest about what I believe. But I can 100% admit that I was unnecessarily mean to you, and I would never want...
I'm not allergic to weed, Sergeant Bluebird, or Bluebeard. I know I'm not allergic to weed. It's just whenever I get drunk or high, I get really bad vertigo, especially if I close my eyes. It's worse if I get high. Basically, if I close my eyes, even if it's just for a second whenever I'm high or drunk, I start to feel like I'm falling and it makes my stomach... It's like that feeling when you're going down the slope on a roller coaster and it makes my stomach feel like it's going into my throat. It's just the same feeling. It has something to do with whenever I'm in any way inebriated.
My actions to result in making someone's eating disorder worse or to incite my audience to be hateful. Do I think the actions of my audience are entirely my fault? No, but I do believe that I should have taken better precautions to ensure you didn't receive harassment. And for that, I really truly am sorry. I don't expect you to accept my apology or have any positive feelings towards me, but my intention in sending this message to you is so that you know you've been heard and that you've been seen. I would like to make a video response to explain my point of view and publicly apologize, as well as ask my audience to apologize in the comments if they ever made any unnecessarily rude comments towards you. I want to give you the heads up because I believe you reserve the right to that. Just know that my only reasoning for not writing to you or responding immediately was to allow your words to settle in my mind and to make sure everything I said in regards to your video was fair and took your feelings into account. I do not apologize for things I do not believe warrant an apology, so I hope you can put faith into me to at least know this is genuine. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to...
Oh, Kalvin. God damn it. Oh, he's so stubborn, dude. Listen, sometimes, regardless of whether... So this is the problem, though, right? Because it's a nice gesture to apologize for the things that you recognize you did wrong. But then if there are still things you did wrong that you don't recognize are wrong and you stand by them still, then that doesn't do much. It really just doesn't, right? After like an apology like that, where it's basically like, I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. You can't really blame Brennan for being like, fuck off, dude. Like, to be fair, I would not blame Brennan at all. Okay? At all. If their response was, fuck off. Like, I would not blame them at all. Holy shit.
To help give you peace of mind from this point forward. I really do wish you the best in everything you do, and once again, I'm sorry that my video and words affected your mental health in such a significant way. I would never do that intentionally, and I hope that you are able to heal from the damage I've caused. The first line of Brennan's response to that is, this isn't a sufficient apology. I'm going to put their response on the
I should probably give Brennan like a special role in the chat if they want it.
screen. I don't want to read it out loud because I don't want to like misarticulate their words. Like, I think my apology is better out loud. Like, I like to say it. Like, I wanted to read it out loud because that's genuinely like how I'm speaking, but I don't want to like read Brennan's for themselves and like make the tone sound different. Just in general, I was not surprised at the response I got, right? Like, again, I didn't expect Brennan to accept my apology at all, but I at least expected them to acknowledge that it was genuine. Like, I didn't say all of those things just because I had to, or just because I wanted to get like...
The problem isn't that it didn't seem genuine, at least from my perspective, but like, the problem is that you didn't really apologize. Brennan, do you want to give your take on this? Because I can read it out if you want to give your take, because I would presume it would be best to have your take on his apology in the video. The way it came off to me is it's like, I'm sorry I did these couple of things, but I still stand by all these different things. And that's not really a real apology, you know? I addressed his apology in my third video. Here, I'm going to go ahead and put your video in chat for people to go check out.
Okay, cool.
So is it the Let's Unpack Yesterday Part 1? TLDR, it sucked. I do not forgive him. I don't blame you. No, it's Part 3? Okay, it came up on the beginning of the list. I'm seeing Part 1 and 2, but I'm not seeing 3. If I go to videos, will it come up? Part 3. Oh, here it is. Breaking My Silence Part 3. Okay, I found it. I found it. I got it. I'm in. There we go. Milo Stewart just posted the link. Here is another link to the video, and here is a link in Lay YouTube chat. Yeah, so if you guys are curious to hear Brennan go into a bit more detail on their entire take on Kalvin's behavior and apology, as well as you should just watch the entire story, because you can get the entire, the entire story from the source of it, essentially. I highly recommend you check that out as well. Not just the third video.
Less backlash. Like, I genuinely said that, and I didn't post it right off the bat. Like, I didn't even tell people that I apologized, because I really, really, truly meant what I said, and I really, truly meant that message that I sent. I really meant it. And, as I said before, the video was already taken down at that point. Just the response I got back and the whole, like, give me money thing, I want to make it really, really, really clear that when I've said that my videos are demonetized, it's true. Like, I never lied about that. The person who doxed me tried to say I was making 4K a video. Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't be quitting YouTube, that's for sure. But I'm definitely never even making close to 4K a video. I would get brand deals and stuff, for $1,000, $1,500, but not on every video. You guys know the videos that I've made where Adam and Eve sponsored me. But the video that I made about Brennan was always demonetized, because I used to use, at the end of most of my videos, I would use like an outro clip, which I took out now because when I was editing the video to take out the portion about me making out like a fat joke, it wouldn't let me save it without taking out the copyright content. But at the very end of the video, there's a portion of the song Overnight Sensation by Borns, and YouTube copyrighted that. And when YouTube copyrights your video, ads are still played on the video, but you don't receive the profits from that. Like, you can't turn off the ads. Borns made the money from that. And when I was 17 years old when I made the video, I didn't even have an AdSense account. You can't make one until you're 18. Just Brennan asking for money was that shit really pissed me off, if I'm being honest, because...
What was the ask for money thing? Was it like, hey, you're making ad revenue off that video, I'm pretty sure. Like, what is the context of that? Because I kind of get the feeling that Kalvin is maybe being a little dishonest. To give me the AdSense of that video. Fair. Yeah. If, like, listen, guys, if you make a video just outright bullying somebody that's just talking about their experience, and then you claim to be sorry about it afterward, then yeah, it would be fair to be like, okay, if you're actually sorry and you feel like it was bad that you made this video, why not give me the ad revenue from it so you're not benefiting from literally bullying me? Like, I feel like that's a fairly reasonable request. I do. I do think it's a fairly reasonable request.
If y'all think I am rich from YouTube, you are sadly mistaken. I have quite a few things I have to pay for, just like everybody else probably watching this. And the amount of money that I make off YouTube is enough to sustain and eat and live and have my car and stuff like that. But it's not like I have like a huge amount of money in my savings. I have like $300 in my savings right now. Even if Brennan wanted money from me, I don't have the money to pay you. I really don't. That's me being honest with you. I'm bad at saving. I'll concede that. Like, I was bad at saving while I was a YouTuber and stuff like that. But it's not like I own a super nice car. I own a really fucked up Hyundai 2010 Sonata. Not like I go to a school that's $60K a year. I go to a state school. So I don't know what else.
God, holy shit. How? I feel like YouTubers need to be required to take a finance class. I really do. Like, YouTube needs to offer a class to be like, here's how to handle the fucking money you make off of YouTube so you don't spend it all on random shit. So you can actually have a few. Because, like, guys, take it from me, who's watched dozens, hundreds of YouTube channels rise and fall, okay? YouTube is unbelievably volatile. If you don't play your cards correctly, you may be like a one-hit wonder YouTuber in the sense that you're popular for a year or a couple years and then you're done. You want to make sure that that money that you make from YouTube will last you long enough to take care of you for a while.
To say about that. I was never doing these videos for the money. After that, Brennan made like 2 more videos about me, which I have not watched, so I'm not going to speak on them. That's where it is now. I mean, what I said in that apology, it still holds true. And so when I announced that I was going to quit making videos, I made my Brennan video public again after I edited out the part that
I'm curious
thought was
about this.
just completely uncalled for. And the reason for a day or two that the video was made public again is because I didn't want my words to be twisted. Like, a lot of people will do this, not everybody, but I've seen it tons of times, where people will quote me or say something that I said in a video that I just
Kalvin. Oh. This feels, because I know he's not being honest here, guys. I know he's not being honest here. Because, okay, we covered Kalvin's Instagram posts, okay? He was totally going, like, full hissy fit, okay? 100, hey, Vermin. He was mad, okay? He was super mad he got called out. He was mad that Brennan had released their videos and they got quite a bit of traction. He was mad that Cops Hate Mo released their video and it got a ton of traction. He was really angry, and personally, maybe I'm wrong, I think he did it out of spite. I really don't think he did it because he did, like, I don't think he re-uploaded it because he was like, oh, well, I just think there's some things in there that I don't want to, you know, I just want to make sure that everything that I said is out there complete. No, that was out of spite. I feel it here. This is what I think happened, okay? We'll draw a timeline, okay? This is how we'll end the video, all right? We are going to draw what I believe is the timeline of events that happened. Paint stream, get out the Bob Ross. I need to dress up as Bob Ross and like get an emote of me as Bob Ross for the paint stream stuff. Okay, here is what I think the timeline of events are from the Instagram post a little bit before it and then now, okay? So here's what I think I believe this is what happened first, right? Okay. Here's what happened. Kalvin apologizes to Brennan. I probably misspelled apologizes. I suck at spelling, okay? I've used autocorrect my whole life. Then I think Brennan. Wow, that was just the worst spelling of Brennan. I assume that's how it's... God damn it, I suck. It's an E, not an N, not an A. With two N's. Wow, I need to take a typing class. Brennan doesn't accept the apology. And then... Kalvin gets mad and goes on an Instagram rant and unprivate his video on Brennan. Oh my god, Xander, all peck types? I actually don't... I'm sorry, that's now unreadable. I actually don't peck type as much when I don't have a microphone blocking me. He actually didn't re-release his video until Mo's video. Okay. Here's what we'll do. All right, we'll re-meme this. So, did Kalvin apologize before or after Mo's video? I'm curious. He apologized before Mo's video. Okay. So before this... Mo makes their video on Kalvin. Okay. There we go. So Mo makes their video on Kalvin. I assume this probably had, if we're being honest, something to do with Kalvin doing his apology. It also probably has something to do with Brennan's series, which came before Mo's video. So we'll do Brennan makes their video series about their experiences with Kalvin. All right, here we go. Brennan makes their video series about their experience with Kalvin. Mo makes their video on Kalvin. Kalvin apologizes to Brennan. Brennan doesn't accept the apology. Kalvin gets mad and goes on an Instagram rant and unprivates his video on Brennan. And then... Well, yeah, that's why I made the Mo makes their video... Oh, before... Ah, shit. Okay, hold on. We can surgically... We can surgically fix this. And then... Put it right here. We'll put it right here on the timeline. Boom. There we go. We're getting the right... We're doing... This is like trying to put together a Legend of Zelda lore timeline, okay? Don't blame me, all right? Okay. Then... All right. Then... Kalvin decides to leave YouTube and uploads his final video, which is what we're watching now. So this is the line of events that we've gone through so far. We don't know what'll happen in the future, okay? We don't know what'll happen in the future. But it started with Brennan making their first video about their experiences with Kalvin. Kalvin going and apologizing to YouTube. Fuck off, okay? Pretend it's a Y, please. The T and the Y are right next to each other. The T and the Y are right next to each other. The T and the Y are right next to each other, okay? Can we chill? Brennan makes their video series about their experience with Kalvin. Kalvin apologizes to Brennan, in quotes. Then Brennan doesn't accept their apology. Then Mo makes their video on Kalvin. Kalvin gets mad and goes on an Instagram rant and unprivates his video on Brennan. Then Kalvin decides to leave YouTube and uploads his final video, in which he goes back on the reason why he uploaded this video, which I guarantee, unprivated this video, which I guarantee was a spiteful move at Brennan, as well as just the broader, like, trans community that doesn't like Kalvin because of the hate that Kalvin was getting from the massive success of Mo's video. That seems to be, yeah, this is like a Five Nights at Freddy's lore timeline as well. This seems to be the line of events that I need a haircut so fucking bad. This seems to be the line of events as they happened, okay? You can quote me on this, all right? You can cut it, you can screenshot it, and you can put that up on your wall. I'm a very good artist. That appears to be the lore of the whole situation. Alrighty. I think I've seen enough of Kalvin's video. It just comes off to me as like Kalvin... I feel like Kalvin might genuinely be sorry for some stuff, but when you're only sorry for like one or two things that you did wrong, but you stand by the rest, is that really being sorry or anything like that? Is it really like a meaningful apology? I don't think so. I'm gonna say definitively right now, I do not interpret that apology as very meaningful. I don't. Hey y'all, I know it's all discourse to you, but please remember, a lot of people have a lot of trauma associated with this, myself included, obviously. Yeah, you guys have to remember that, like, when it comes to this YouTube stuff going on, yeah, what apology? That's why I use apology in quotes, right? When you use this, when we talk about this, like, YouTube stuff or the stuff going on YouTube, it's really easy to forget that we're talking about real people here. The victims of Kalvin Garrah's harassment are real people that have gone through real, like, struggles. Because I want you guys to try to empathize here for a second. Can you imagine a YouTuber with, like, what, 600,000 subs Kalvin has, sending just a horde of people after you to, like, tell you that you're crazy or a piece of shit or whatever the fuck because you identify as something that they think is bad or doesn't exist? Literally questioning, 330K? I thought he was at like 600K. Like, literally not just questioning, but attacking your very identity. hundreds, maybe thousands of people, tens of thousands maybe, going after you for that. I want you guys to try to imagine that. Put yourself in the shoes of Kalvin's victims, because this isn't as simple as like, oh, it's just drama. It's not. These are people's lives that we're talking about. So with that said, and with that in mind, I'm once again going to shout out Brennan's YouTube channel. This is their channel. I request that all of you go subscribe, check out their videos, share them around, leave a like, comment on them, help them in the algorithm. Any ways that they have to do so, donate on Patreon to Brennan, anything like that. I am not going to show myself at the end of this video, but rather Brennan here. Go check out their channel. Go subscribe. I'll subscribe myself. Look at that. I'll even ring the bell icon. Do that. Do what I just did. Follow the leader, okay? You subscribe, then you ring the bell icon. Watch the videos, leave likes, comment, donate on Patreon. Do all those things. And also, if you have the ability to, signal boost other victims of Kalvin Garrah's behavior as well. If I had a list of everyone that was affected by Kalvin Garrah, I would signal boost them as well. But yeah, go check out Brennan, and yeah, have a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you have a good one. Later.